I'm excited about this upcoming miniseries on the Kim Serell Show. We're talking about 3 misconceptions that people have about men. So we're going to unmask the man, the real man, and share 3 misconceptions on what holds men back and what women need to know, the women in their life need to know about who a man actually is. We're going to get into it on the Kim Serell Show. Coming up soon. Don't forget to watch.
Welcome to this very, very, very special edition of the Kim Serell Show. It's actually a mini series of 3 with my dear friend who I adore, Mista Yu, who is a genius in every possible way. One of the things that I adore about him is how realistic he is about men in general. He talks about things that sometimes people shy away from and don't want to talk about. But there are some misconceptions about men out there that, ladies, we need to know, and men, you need to understand more about yourself, I would say. So we're doing this thing together. We're doing a 3-part mini-series. This is part 1, and going to bring you through like the top misconceptions about men and what you can do to tweak your thinking, to look at things differently, and change how you are as a man or how you feel about men. So let's get this ball rolling. Welcome to the show, Mista Yu.
Thank you, Kim, for having me. I appreciate this so much. It's so fun. I'm having fun already. So thank you for having me in here. I appreciate this.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy that you are here. So when you were on my podcast before, we talked about doing this, how important we thought this was. And so I've been so excited to do it. So we're going to just dive into it. We're going to have 3 different parts. They're not going to be as long of episodes, 15, 20 minutes. So you can listen to all 3 of them at once if you want to, everybody, or you can listen to them one at a time, pass them on to other people. But I think this is information that you're going to find so valuable. So let's get the ball rolling. First of all, what makes you an expert on men? Is it just because you happen to be one?
Expert? You know I'm going to cringe every time you say stuff like that. But no, I am a man for sure. But I think I've been immersed in the whole culture of men being whole for over 30 years now. Not just because of my own struggles, but just because of situations I was thrusted into. People looked at me as a subject matter expert in areas where I didn't feel confident in, but I began to start, engaging in it, embracing the idea of that. And I've been doing men's groups and men's roundtables. One of our podcasts I wouldn't say it's highly successful because we just kind of get started, but it's been about 6 months, and it's been very, very successful so far. Men from around the world now, so it's global, which is really awesome. Men talking about issues that are germane to men, and it's been growing in popularity, even with their wives and significant others. I'm hearing from them too, and they're like, "This is what my man needs." So husbands, brothers, fathers, and sons, we're kind of talking to you through the podcast. But as far as an expert, no, I'm going to flinch a little bit at that terminology. But at the same time, I have a lot to bring to the table. I have a lot to bring to the dance because I've researched this, I've read on this, I've learned, I've studied this, I've immersed myself in this culture, so I can help some men out. And it's part of what I do professionally too. I'm a high performance coach. I deal with men specifically. So I know the hurts and the struggle. I heard all of the struggles, and I've seen the tears. I know what they're going through, and I can speak, and perhaps I can help them a little bit. So that's what this is about. So I'm an expert. I don't know about that, but I can definitely help some men out.
Yeah, well, I'm sticking with expert. So say what you want, but I'm sticking with it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But one thing that you're so good about, though, is really identifying what the misconceptions even are. Because there could be people out there who don't even think that there are any misconceptions and not realize they exist. But when you recognize that they do exist, and then you recognize the truth over what the perceived truth is, it changes the game, changes everything, right?
It does. I love that. And that does touch on a particular pain point for me. So I'll be brief and try to get through it as quick as I can without too much angst associated with it. But one of the things that I'm having a struggle with people who they want to have friendships and deep relationships but they're lazy. They're lazy in the fact that they won't do the dirty work that comes with relationships. They want to kind of just make assumptions, slap a label on there and say this is what this person is, and this is what men or what women are, and they want to just move on with that under that assumption, under that illusion, but they haven't done any work. They can't find the treasure in people because they're too lazy to get a shovel out and start digging for it. So what you said was so deep because people just assume that they already understand what's going on with men. They got a husband in their household or a brother that's perhaps underperforming in some area or underachieving, and they kind of just feel, you know what? They're all like this. They see it in the world, they see it in politics, they see it in popular culture, and they just assume, you know what? All men must be this way. So there's nothing to discover. There's no treasure. It is what it is. They just what they are, and that's really a sad commentary. So that's kind of where I struggle with. I'm kind of bristle at that. I'm like, no, we there's so much more in us than what we get credit for. And a lot of things are our own fault in what we do, but there's something that we don't know to do. And that's what we have to learn and kind of grow and educate ourselves and develop ourselves. So that's kind of what I like to do, outside of being on the camera. And I think that's what you're talking about today, I think.
Yeah, that's so good. So let's get into it. Misconception number one is...
Misconception number one. There are three, probably more, but three is what I focused on to get prepared for this. But I want to kind of just unmask the men for a little bit because people think that men are this and men are that. I want to try to break some of that stuff down and get people thinking a little bit more deeply. The first one is going to be the strength misconception. People think, you know what? Real men don't show emotion. Real men shouldn't show emotion. And there's been so many books that I've read. I have one book that I'm very excited about. I've been talking about it for years. I should be on the cover somewhere. I promoted it so much, but it's called Wild at Heart by John Eldridge. And it's probably one of the most game-changing books for me as a man, speaking about manhood, who we should be, why we are the way we are, why we take certain turns that we take in life. Is because of a lot that I've read in that book. But anyway, real men don't show emotions. Probably one of the misconceptions about men. Men can't cry. Men can't feel. Men can't be vulnerable. Men can't be transparent. My God, do you want an automaton or do you want a husband? Do you want a brother? Do you want a father or son? What do you want? Because if you want the latter, it's going to come with emotion because we're complex beings. There's a lot of things that we shoulder and deal with in life that people don't even think about. They just throw it on us and we just carry it and don't even know how to handle it. So real men do show emotion. I'm going to push back against the idea that we can't cry. I'm a big crier. I've cried on live podcasts. I'm not proud of that. I'm just telling you what happened. So real men do show emotion. And you know what? Sometimes people get the idea that strength is something that's outward. That's why certain men spend so much time in the gym. They feel like, you know what? If I'm strong on the outside, people are going to think I'm strong on the inside. It's an illusion, though. It's an attempt to deceive people because the strength on the inside isn't always silent. Sometimes it's just being sincere, being honest and open. So you know what? This is where I'm at. That's why I love our Roundtable Series podcast. I love it so much because we get into that kind of stuff and you see it come out. Sincerity. You see it come out. The real strength. People are in the face of real adversity and they're showing courage and they're still pushing through it. And they're doing it not just to kind of just get over it, but just to go through it, learn something about themselves, grow in the process, and come out on the other side of it better than they were when they went into it. So,
oh, that's so interesting because there's this pressure, right? Where dads are saying to their sons, "Boys don't cry," buck up, right? Get tough, grow a thicker skin, or whatever it happens to be, and so then I would think that men feel like they have to suppress their emotions instead of just letting them go and experiencing them. But as a woman, I can say I don't want a robot. I want to know that the man, that whatever men in my family, my sons, whoever they happen to be, that they have feelings, that they do have emotions, and they're allowed to express those and use those. And that should be a positive thing. But
it should be.
Societally, it's been a negative thing for so many years. How do we break away from that? And how do men turn from knowing that their dad's going to be upset if they see him cry to it's okay to shed a tear, it's okay to show emotion?
Yeah, that's a tough one because a lot of this stuff is generational and has been taught. You go all the way back to the 1800s. People are kind of sucking it up for a long time because they've lived in poverty and adversity for so long. It's become part of the culture, and they passed it down. They taught poverty to their children, to their children's children, and passed it on and on. It's really hard to break out of it. It's not impossible, but it's really hard to break out of that. But it starts one conversation at a time, one transparent moment at a time. You can't try to undo hundreds of years of a bad mindset in a day, or even in one podcast, or even reading one book. It takes time. We got to be willing to be on the journey and stay on it. That's the thing I try to teach a lot of the men that I'm able to come in contact with. I'm coaching them or mentoring them, or they're part of our mission work with the podcast. But try to teach that, it's one day at a time, but be committed to staying on the journey. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, I didn't have a problem with that in my own household. I was an emotional person. Is that a good thing to say? I'm not sure if I should even say stuff like that. But I was in touch with my feelings, put it like that. It's coming from New York City. That's not the norm. That's why I knew I was a rare bird, to say the least, because that's not what was happening. That's not what was taught to me in the culture. But I'm okay with that. And I try to teach that to my grandsons, and just kind of let them know, you know what, it's okay to have feelings and deal with that kind of stuff. So in what you're saying there, I really feel like if you are struggling with that, you gotta be willing to get on the train and say, you know what, I know where this is going, but I'm okay with it. I don't want to be the person that's suppressed and you stand on the bridge getting ready to jump because you can't take anymore because it's all bottled up. I mean, have you ever seen a pressure cooker before? You know what's going to happen once that lid comes off. It's going to be an explosion of steam and hot energy. And that's what happens to men a lot of the time. We hold it all in, and then we wonder why we're imploding on the inside. We wonder why we're having dark thoughts. We're wondering why we are in isolation, sitting in dark rooms, not having friends and not communicating. We wonder why we are not really a part of our family tree anymore. We're kind of just on the outside looking in because we don't deal with those emotions and come to terms with the fact that we are emotional beings. We were made that way, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that we're not unbothered by stuff. It doesn't mean that we don't feel. It doesn't mean that life stuff doesn't shake us. It just means that, you know what? Emotion doesn't mean that we're weak. It just means that we're human, and it's a good thing.
Right. You know, it's so interesting that you say that, because like I think about Thanksgiving just happened, Christmas is coming up, or you get together for any holiday, and quite often the women are in the kitchen and they're chatting and they're crying and they're laughing and they're, whatever it is that they're doing, while the men are just watching the football game. And they're just, in the other room, not really talking to each other. They might say, oh, that was a great play, or, oh, that guy got robbed, or whatever. But not a lot of real communication, not a lot of emotion going on as far as with each other toward the game, perhaps. They might get really angry at a coach or an official or a player, but and express their emotion that way rather than expressing their emotion really with each other.
Yeah, that's not uncommon. I mean, that happens a lot, especially during the holidays. I don't know how to tell folks how to handle a holiday situation because it's a little bit tricky because there's a lot of things at play there. Mm-hmm. But I think, to me, I think the key word here is intentionality. We got to be really intentional about putting ourselves in places where we can be able to be free to be, who we are emotionally as men. And a lot of times, if we put ourselves in spots where, like, for example, you can't go to the bar and say, you know what, I want to be my emotional self here at the bar. It's just not going to work. There's certain environments where men kind of just get together and they don't want to deal with it. They kind of in that place for whatever it is, whether it be to watch football and eat wings, or whether it be to be whatever certain men are doing. And it's like just not a place for it. But there are places, and we're trying to build some ourselves, but there are places where men are able to be who they need to be and be honest and transparent about where they are so that they can get the kind of help that help them to not fall back into those cycles. Well, it's not easy. The holidays is rough because it's like everybody's getting together and it's kind of almost a tradition. It's like some traditions, not football. I love me some football. Don't get me wrong. You know how much I love my Michigan Wolverines.
That's right. Go blue.
That's right. Go blue, baby. But that being said, there's some traditions that we have to break. And there's just some things that's like, it's not healthy for us anymore. There's some times where people who are 3 generations of men, for example, they're cutting each other down. They're, demeaning each other. And next generation, whether it be sons and grandsons, they're watching this And like, okay, so this must be what it means to be a man. And they take their cues from somebody who's already wounded. How can a hurt man help somebody? A hurt man is going to just hurt somebody else. Hurt people are just hurt people. And it's like, it's sad, but it's a cycle. And you can watch it. If you stand back and look, you can see it. And it's like, we got to break this somehow. And it really starts with intentionality. That's where it kind of starts from. I mean, think about Jesus, the Son of God, the shortest verse of scripture in the entire Bible. 2 words, John 11:35, Jesus wept. That's it. I'm like, how profound is that? Why did he even have that in the scripture? He wept. I think he was trying to show us that, even as men, that's a human emotional part that he's okay with that. He actually made us for that, to be emotional, even though we're complex, we're emotional. We have a heart. We can be transparent. We can weep. We can deal. And it's okay. We're going to get healed and we're going to move on and we're going to grow and develop as men. But if Jesus wept, why? Who says that we can't cry?
Yeah, amen to that. It's so true. As you're talking, I'm thinking, man, it's a misconception about men that they have about each other, but also that women have about men, right? And so how do you break it? Because, men, be intentional, absolutely realize that it's okay to be emotional, give yourself permission to be emotional, all those kinds of things. Realize that, yes, you're human and you don't have to act like you're superhuman all the time. It's okay to show emotion. It's okay to experience emotion. And ladies, we got to let our men do it. We have to have a safe place that we develop for our men to be able to show emotion, that they feel like it's okay for them to, that we're not going to take it as a sign of weakness in them, but really as a sign of strength, that they're that confident in themselves that they're able to express emotion.
Yeah, that's key right there. And I don't know how this lands with your female listeners. I hope this is landing well, because this could be a brave new world for them. They may not have any idea what we're talking about, and they may not even see any of that stuff at all. But honestly, it's really there. And it's behind the veil a little bit. You got to kind of dig in a little bit and go a little deeper than you may normally go or feel comfortable going. But there's just so much more. I have a friend of mine. He talks to me a lot about, how he had to deal with social situations and the challenges he has with getting to know other men and just learning how to really be intentional about putting himself in uncomfortable spots. And he talks about a lot, and hopefully he's not watching, but he talks a lot about his wife and how she cuts him down and criticizes him a lot. And when that happens, and it's because it's been happening for years, I guess from the beginning of their marriage, what's happening is that every time that happens, he almost gets paralyzed. He can't function in situations just because of that interaction that he has with his wife, the thing that he hears out of the person who he loves the most, out of her mouth. And it's like, I just want to just encourage women that you guys have power. And I don't mean power over your men, because that's witchcraft. It's not what we're talking about. I'm saying you have power over situations, especially in your household, in your relationships, and you have to govern that power appropriately. It's not for you to get a cool Valentine's Day gift. Don't use the power for evil. Use it for good. You have the ability to change the dynamic in your household and bring and inject peace and confidence and love in your household. And if you use the power that you have, what you know about your men, the weaknesses that you know about your men, the things that you have seen that you would retain in your memory, in your files, in your file cabinet, how you use that is going to determine the future of your relationship. If you want this to flourish and grow, you need to understand that that power that you have is not supposed to be used against your best friend. It's supposed to be used against the enemy of your best friend and not him. So it's like there's a lot to kind of learn there, but I just want to just encourage them, because you play a part in this. This is not them going out and just trying to figure it out. You're a part of this. They got to be your home and your bosom. What am I saying right now? your bosom, your arms is a loving, safe space for this man that's growing and developing himself. And he shouldn't have to come home and avoid you. You shouldn't have to come home and hide out in the garage because he can't talk to you. That's just not. Does that make sense? Am I going?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and like talking about your friend, I think people get stuck in some patterns, right?
Yeah.
And like you talked about breaking, you already said, you got to break away from what you thought was right, or, the way you've lived all these years because of what you were taught or what you were shown, what was demonstrated to you, and stop demonstrating that to the next generation or to the people around you, and realize it's okay to express emotion. Well, ladies, we have to give our men the space to do that, and a safe space in our bosom to do that. Like we're the ones, we do have that power to create that space. And I do think sometimes couples, you can get into a pattern. Oh my gosh, my daughter, I don't think she ever listens to me, so she's not going to be listening to the show. But she was married to a man who they just barked at each other. It was, you never heard them just talk kindly to each other. It was like, what are we having for dinner? I mean, like whatever it was just bark, 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 bark. I mean, it was just, yeah. And I pulled him aside and I said, I think this is just a habit you guys have formed. Do you understand the way you sound? Do you understand the way you sound to other people who are hearing how you talk to each other?
Wow.
Do you realize what you're doing? And this is the way that you're talking to each other. You got to break this pattern. And they didn't know it until it was pointed out to them. And so like your friend and his wife was constantly cutting him down. Well, this has been a habit. She's developed this habit and this is the way she talks to him. Well, break the habit. Start thinking about your words and the damage that they can do to your man. And you don't need to be damaging him. My word, if he's better, stronger, more emotionally connected, that's better for you. All of those things are positive for you. So if you're cutting him down, I mean, that cuts you down. Then why are you married to that guy? If all you see is the bad things in him, then why are you married to him? Release him. Let him go. Let him go be with somebody who appreciates him, or figure out why you should be the one appreciating him.
Oh my goodness, Kim, you just, I wish I could see the comments. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, so true, right? So yeah, okay. So misconception number one, that men are not emotional. Break that. We need to break that. I love it that this is number one. I think a lot of things stem from this very one, from this very thing. That
I mean, I'm a firm believer that you can hear what you refuse to feel. When you go to the doctor's office and they touch that spot, it's like if they don't touch the spot, we're not going to. The doctor can't understand what's actually hurting you. And you need to feel the pain. Come to terms with the fact, what, this hurts me. This particular thing hurts me. So I want you to know that, doctor. So now the healing can begin. But a lot of men bleed in private, and nobody even knows what's going on with them. They won't talk about it because, again, they've isolated themselves and from their family, from having friends that are authentic in their life. And that's another wrinkle that we'll probably get into in another part of the miniseries. But you can't hear what you refuse to feel. And I think men need to just recognize that and kind of just deal with that. Not to be the kind of man that your wife wants you to be, or your mother or your daughter wants you to be. I'm not saying that, because there's some notions there that we got to deal with too. But you got to be able to be okay with the fact that you're hurting and you're not okay right now and you need help.
Yeah. Amen. That's so good. That's so good. Oh, this was so good. Pass this on to other people after you listen to it. There's probably men in your life, women in your life that need to hear this. Pass it on and let them hear it. I'm so excited about this series. This was a great one to start with. I'm glad that this is what you opened up for us, because the next couple episodes are going to be amazing. And this is all going to be part of it. So thank you so much for this.
Having me here. This is fun.
And thank you everybody for joining us, and tune in for number 2, because it's going to be great. And until we see each other again, I just pray that you keep your heart open, you live your love loud, and you let your men be emotional.